Mayor Snyder, would you please come up to the podium?
Thank
Be
you.
gentle.
Whew. Hello. Gosh, thank you all for being here today. Before my remarks, I'm going to ask the city clerk to please call the roll.
Councilor Duzon.
I am present.
Councilor Mavadonis.
Here.
Councilor Cook.
Here.
Councilor Ali.
Here.
Councilor Costa.
Here.
Councilor Ray.
Here.
Councilor Thibodeau.
Here.
Councilor Chong.
Present.
Mayor Snyder.
Here. Good. Okay, I'm launching in.
Yep.
Okay. Thank you all so much for being here today. Portland residents, friends and family, past and current elected officials, your presence today is truly appreciated. Whew. Thank you to all the city councilors. You have given me a warm welcome. I'm eager to get to work with you all, and I'm optimistic about the year ahead. Thank you so much to city staff. Your steadfast work in support of Portland and in service to Portland is very appreciated. Thank you for your help with my transition to date, and I look forward to working with you. I also want to thank Mayor Ethan Strimling for his service to our beloved city. Mayor Strimling led with conviction and passion. He helped to advance progress in many important realms, including a local renovation bond for 4 elementary schools, restrictions on pesticide use, advancements in affordable housing, and property tax relief for seniors. Mayor Strimling brought his leadership experience from Learning Works and the Maine State Senate to bear as he advocated for wage and labor standards and for services to our city's most vulnerable. Notably, Mayor Strimling's response and commitment to last summer's influx of asylum seekers helped to ground our community's strong and immediate response as welcoming, inclusive, and compassionate. Please join me in thanking Mayor Strimling. My husband and I have lived in Portland for over 25 years now. We have lived on Munjoy Hill and in the Oakdale neighborhood. We've raised 3 children, all born in Portland, all who attended Portland Public Schools. Our family of 5, made larger by local relatives and wonderful friends, has lived, worked, attended school, and played here in Portland for many years. Our experience of Portland has been broad and deep. However, it was not until I hit the campaign trail last spring that I began to see how much I still have to learn about Portland. I saw neighborhoods tucked in and behind our major avenues that I have never known before. I attended neighborhood organization meetings and listened to many different perspectives on the very real friction that exists as our city makes its way from what has been to what is and to what will be. I listened to young parents uncertain about whether they can afford to stay in Portland and feel confident about the education their kids will get in school here. I talked with seniors who fear the April mail, knowing that the reassessment and a revised tax bill may have consequences that alter their security. I listened to people who love our new corridors of growth and development, the presence and expansion of employment and economic opportunities, our presence on top 10 lists, and I talked with an equal number of people who struggle with the changes. For some Portlanders, the development we have seen over the past 5 or 10 years is exciting and welcome, and to others, it's a sign that their Portland is slipping away or no longer exists. Affordability is at the top of people's minds, and there are so many factors that affect whether and how people can call Portland home. The availability of rental properties challenges those who want to call Portland home. And if you're lucky enough to find an available apartment or home to rent, the costs are often prohibitive. A data point that illustrates one measure of our housing challenge is this. Of the 4,000 people on Avesta's list for affordable housing last year, only 379 were matched with available housing. This is not for lack of desire on the part of community partners to help meet the need. Rather, it's illustrative of an environment that relies heavily on federal and state tax incentives in order to make the numbers work. Another challenge is the availability and cost of both single and multifamily homes for sale. And while land and home values increase, so too does our annual property tax bill. These price tags are factors in anyone's calculation, whether seeking to buy or stay in Portland. The fact is, our mill rate is high. So if you live in Portland, you will pay more annually in property taxes than those occupying similar value homes in nearby towns like Falmouth, Scarborough, and South Portland. This very real annual cost undeniably impacts our city's ability to attract and retain a broad range of residents. It certainly factors into a family's decision to buy or stay in Portland, and this has serious implications for our city and for our schools. One thing that struck me repeatedly as I met with Portland residents over months on the campaign trail is that our community largely agrees on the big issues, the big challenges. We need more affordable housing stock. As the economic, cultural, and service hub for the region and the state, Portland needs to expand and diversify its municipal revenue sources. As just one of 12 states in the country unable to assess a local option sales tax, local meal tax, or lodging tax, we find ourselves struggling to both support our core municipal needs like public works, public safety, and public education, while providing services and infrastructure that serve the state and region and also respond to people who don't live or pay taxes here, but who come to Portland to work, enjoy the restaurants, arts and theater scene, sports teams, shopping, public spaces, and so much more. And if you haven't noticed, Portland is feeling a little traffic-y these days. And while it used to be that you could drive with ease and park with relative ease, that's no longer the case. The growing congestion on our streets, the cost and limited availability of parking in Portland, and the cost of owning and maintaining a car all point to the need for reliable, frequent, and affordable public transportation, as well as safe bike and pedestrian paths. Cars play meaningfully within the context of our sense of livability and our cost of living. And with the climate crisis becoming more dire every day, it's incumbent on communities like ours to rethink how we get around. Our response to homelessness and vulnerable populations is at the top of people's minds as we plan for alternatives to the Oxford Street shelter. And then, of course, there's all the everyday municipal issues that are at the top of people's minds as they make their way around town and contemplate their quality of life. These issues may not get splashy headlines, but they are being talked about in neighborhoods as people evaluate their satisfaction between bills paid and services received. Good roads, good water, separated water, plowed roads and sidewalks, a friendly and responsive business environment, efficiently issued permits for building and zoning that make sense to residents. All of these things are important to Portlanders and their sense of place. Schools. Portland Public Schools is a point of pride for so many graduates, current students, teachers and staff, parents, grandparents, really the whole community. However, Portland Public Schools struggles with declining revenues from the state because of a funding formula that relies so heavily on land values to determine a community's ability to pay. As we all know, our land values are high, so while the school budget may increase at a predictable cost of living rate, revenues and support, even when your tax bill rises annually, don't cover both the increases in costs and the loss of revenue. These are the things that I heard on people's minds over and over the last 8 or 9 months. And yet, in contrast to our challenges, we have so many assets and opportunities here in our great city. We have outdoor recreation opportunities, a walk, bike, or an easy drive away. We have a vibrant arts and culture scene. We have wonderful opportunities for education from preschool through college, graduate and professional school, as well as technical degree granting programs, Portland Adult Ed, and so much more. There's plenty of beer to sample, a distillery and cider scene, not to mention restaurants that draw visitors at all times of year. We have 5th, 6th, 7th generation Bulldogs and Rams, and 1st generation Casco Bay grads. We have neighbors who have spent their entire lives here and others who just arrived last week from places very far away. We have experts. Portland is rich with people who are content area experts who can inform issues and contribute to problem solving. And importantly, most importantly in my opinion, we have positivity, a strong sense of community, generosity, and pragmatism that fuels our work together toward good, solid outcomes that respect history, respond to needs, celebrate change, and chart our path into the future. Our job as elected officials is to work with the community to identify and prioritize the issues we face and get to work, which is precisely why I ran for mayor and what I'm eager to do with all of you. To that end, next week on Tuesday, December 10th, the council will engage in its annual workshop session to identify the city's goals and prioritize in order to provide guidance to the city manager, to inform the public, and to guide the work of council committees. We're not going to let much time pass before we get right to it. The district meetings, 3 of which have occurred, with 2 more happening this week, are well-timed to inform the work. I know this is a council that cares passionately about citizen input and the community's priorities. There's an appetite for healthy and fair debate and decision-making in Portland, for process that includes all voices and respects a range of opinions. We won't always agree, but listening to the whole debate with an open mind to learning and understanding will, I believe, allow for responsible and durable outcomes. Please join me in looking optimistically ahead. And lastly, why the white scarves? The 19th Amendment granting women the right to vote was ratified by the state of Maine in November 1919, 100 years ago. Yeah. It was officially adopted as part of the U.S. Constitution in August of 1920. Women's suffrage was one of the most successful political movements in history. It nearly doubled the American voting population and changed society's ingrained, supposedly immutable view of women. So today I ask you to join Councilors Cook, Dusan, and Ray, and me as we celebrate our democracy and recognize the need to continually work to effect positive changes that seek to improve lives and increase civic engagement. Thank you again for being here today, and let's get to work.